Is the mic on? Episode 106. What's wrong with Orny Adams? I don't know if you've flown recently, but these airlines, they don't care. It's beyond, like you used to get away with it by flying first class, but even in first class, they treat you like you're on Greyhound. And I thought, I was in Vegas last week, and I'll talk about that later, but not my favorite place to go. But I always think it's going to be an easy trip. It's a less than 1 hour flight out of Burbank. I fly Southwest, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. They used to give you a snack and some water or a beverage of your choice. They don't even do that anymore. They don't even, this is every flight I've taken out of Burbank in the last year or two. They now pretend there's going to be so much turbulence that the flight attendants can't get up and serve drinks. So coming back, they said, listen, for the safety of the flight attendants, we're suspending service of the drinks and the food. It was the smoothest flight I've ever been on, ever. It's bullshit. Traveling has gotten worse. And here's another thing. And my guest is older like me, and I'm sure you have the same problem. And I'll get to the guest in a minute. If you're curious why it looks a little different, if you're watching the video, I am remote in somebody else's studio that graciously allowed me to use their studio and their staff. So this is a treat today. But when I stay in hotels now, the lighting is horrible. It's horrible. Let me introduce my guest, and then we'll talk about the lighting in the hotel room. My guest today is a stand-up comedian, an actor, prankster, a Canadian who's a judge on America's Got Talent, which I don't like. I don't like it at all. My guest today is Howie Mandel, who's also the co-host of the critically acclaimed podcast. I don't even know how to put on headsets. Where's the theme? Already they're screwing up.
No, they're not. The theme comes. First I want to say thank you for being here. Now play the theme. There we go.
Fellow Canadian, Harlan Williams.
I love Harlan.
And his cousin who's in the Bare Naked Ladies.
Yes.
Did this, Kevin.
Wow.
Yes. Howie Mandel is here. They did it for me. We do prank videos for each other, and they wrote this song and played it, and then I had somebody do backing vocals and all that sort of stuff.
Wow.
That cool?
Wow.
There you go.
Canada's got talent.
Canada's got more talent. I want to talk about that too. Howie Mandel is the co-host of the critically acclaimed podcast, which I was on last week. Howie Mandel Does Stuff.
Yes.
And you've put up some great videos.
Thank you.
That I love.
Well, thank you.
I absolutely
loved
love
having you, and this is not the first time you've been on, but we love having you as a guest. Our audience loves having you. You're incredibly funny, incredibly witty, and you don't hold back, and that's what we love, you know? And it was funny hearing you in your rant at the beginning because you talk a lot about lighting.
I'm obsessed with lighting.
Why?
Because, I assume this is great lighting.
Okay.
I looked good on your podcast. Some podcasts I go on, I look horrible. Mine is hit or miss because I do it in a Shasta trailer that looks just like this. And
that's what we got.
Yeah, and there's variable lighting. So if a cloud comes, the lighting changes. So it's strange. It's weird to be doing this in a studio. There is something very intimate about my podcast. You're on top of each other, and you're just waiting for something to go wrong.
And you don't feel that this is as intimate?
I'm going to find out.
But we're sitting like knee to knee. We're looking at each other.
Yes.
And I haven't really seen you in this kind of lighting before. You are stunning.
Do you notice in hotels, they need night lights?
What do you mean?
Okay, do you sleep with the bathroom light out or on?
On. Right. So what's your problem?
I used to. Now I've got a girlfriend that if there's any light at all, if there's any sound, she can't handle it.
Blindfold her.
She sleeps with one of those things. She has these earplugs, which come out in the middle of the night, and then you find one up your ass.
Maybe it's your butt plug falls out and gets jammed in her ear.
No.
No?
And so she wears these earplugs. And when we started dating, I said, hey, maybe we can work towards not wearing the earplugs. If I don't snore, you know, it's sort of, I feel disconnected from you with the earplugs in bed.
Why does that bother you?
Well, here's the good news. After a year of dating, she now wears them every day, all day. Every day, all day, she's got the earplugs in.
Because of you.
Yeah, because of me.
That's fantastic.
Howie Mandel, you have an abundance of energy and an infectious smile and personality, something I've never had my whole life.
Thank you. I feel like you're flirting rather than interviewing.
I am.
Okay.
I am. How many hours a night do you sleep?
Not a lot. I don't know, and I've never really, you know, I find that the older we get, that's what people talk about. Mm-hmm. Like I remember when I was like 15 or 13, I never said, boy, I slept 8 hours last night. I've never said that to another kid.
Right.
But as an adult, don't you find that, like, that's your opening question of this whole interview? Like, do you sleep a lot? I still don't keep a track of my sleep. I know that I pee more now. So I'm up, and that's why I have to keep the light on in the bathroom.
Get a night light.
Well, I don't want to wear like a miner's helmet to bed. And then
No. You plug it in the back. I now travel, when I go to hotels.
Yes.
I now shut the lights out, and I have a little night light, and I plug it in.
Between you and your girlfriend traveling, is the carry-on, the nightlight, the earplugs, the blindfold, there's a lot of snacks. I try to be the older I get, the less I want to take with me, the less I want to have. I leave the light on in the bathroom so I can find it. Mm-hmm. Because do you find that, like, as a comedian, we travel, you wake up, the second I wake up, I have no fucking idea where I am. I don't know where I am. And if I've been on a continuous, somewhat tour, so I'm never in the same hotel 2 nights in a row, the next night the bathroom's on the other side of the room, I don't know where I am. So to me, it's like leaving a little trail so I'm not lost. Okay. Light.
That's what the nightlight is. And then it doesn't.
I don't want to take a nightlight.
There's no like variable lighting in the back. Like they don't have like a half light or like sometimes there'll be a shower light and you just leave that on and then you can find it. But for the most part, you've got this bright light and it's not healthy to sleep like that.
Is that not true? Because I can sleep with the door open, the window. I don't have to draw the curtains.
I want a woman like you.
Thank you.
Could I turn the TV on in the middle of the night?
The TV's on, everything's on. I've always slept with noise.
Yeah, me too.
My mom used to put me to sleep by turning the vacuum cleaner on.
Really?
Maybe that's why I'm a clean nut. But yes, I like sound. I like noise. I like light. Quiet is the scariest thing for me. Quiet and darkness. And not because I'm afraid of ghosts or boogie monsters. I'm afraid of myself. So it's I don't want to be in my own mind. I don't want to hear myself. I don't want to hear my thoughts. I want to constantly be distracted.
But what are these thoughts that you're afraid of?
Horrible, repetitious, ritual thoughts. I've been very open about my mental health and depression, anxiety, OCD. Everything that I suffer from, and I don't use the word suffer lightly, is my go-to panacea besides therapy and medication is distraction. Every, I say waking moment, but even during the sleeping moments, you know, so like a window should be open so that I can, I see a light, or I see a sign, or I see, a car went by, or I hear a noise on a TV, or I just want to constantly be distracted. Because quiet allows you to go inside. And the scariest place for me, I'm not afraid of anything in this world except what's in my own mind.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
The shower. Is there noise in the shower or just?
Yeah, but that's not like white noise. That's good. That's good noise.
That's a good noise?
That's a good noise. Just not silence.
That's amazing.
Why did you get quieter when I said I'm afraid of silence?
Because I want you let's have a moment of silence.
No.
Yeah. I just, like, what is it like to be married to you? What is that?
My wife.
Is it?
This is the best cue in the world. Wait, here. Let's answer. Hello, Terry. Terry
Howie is trying to answer his watch.
No, but it is my wife. You could see it's my wife.
No, she heard us.
You know what
These
she's
women
doing?
are very intuitive.
She calls and then she's not saying anything. That's how she tortures me. She calls me and then it's silence.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Is that better? That's so.
It was crazy. Women have this intuition, but
she's trying to torture me.
Would you wear that watch on America's Got Talent?
I do.
Does
And
it go
rings
off during tapings?
It goes off during my. I don't. The two things in my life is it's got to be noisy and I don't like rules and I don't turn my phone off. I get phone calls. I don't care.
Don't you ever need to relax? Like you answer texts really fast.
I know.
It's amazing.
Why?
Because most people don't. Most people put their phones in their pocket.
No.
Could you go for a hike? Could you go for an hour-long hike with
Not
your phone
out of
away?
Wi-Fi, not out of satellite service. No, I need constant.
So how does your wife handle this?
Well, the truth of the matter is, with my mental issues, the reason I ended up from my generation didn't ever want to face, talk, or there's a huge stigma involved with anything that has to do with mental health. Mm-hmm. And in my mid-40s, I've been married for 44 years, but in my mid-40s, my wife gave me an ultimatum that either I go get help and find some other coping skills or she's gone. So how does she handle it? She's amazing. She's a saint. It's really hard. I make fun of my issues and that's a coping skill, but it's really hard to live with me, be with me. Listen, I would imagine it's the same for your girlfriend, and I don't think the earplugs and the have anything to do with her sleeping.
But the other thing
needs to get away from you for a moment. That's my wife. That's what my wife.
Yeah, they should probably hang out.
Yes, they enjoy each other.
Yeah, they can go on vacation. They don't understand. I think what's really difficult for probably people like us and for other people to understand is the need to produce material, to be heard, to hear feedback. Like it's
for me, it's just the need, and this drives her nuts. Aside from whatever my mental health issues are, I think that people in our business and who do what we do and kind of live the art form that we live, the art form is being incredibly aware of your environment and what's going on, and then commenting on it. And usually the inanity of whatever it is, which outside of a stage can drive something crazy.
Right.
Somebody crazy. Like, why are you pronouncing it that way? Every time you say it, you're pronouncing it that way. And my wife will go, why is it so? Oh, okay. I go, well, maybe it's a bit. Maybe, I don't know. This may turn into a bit.
Right.
I'm just trying to be funny. Well, she'll say, well, I don't find it funny. You're just making fun. I know, but I can't help, and then 2 months later, I'm on stage and go, do you ever notice when somebody mispronounces this word? And that's not a bit, or it's not nothing. That was an example of when you're talking about the lighting in a hotel or you're ranting or you're whatever.
Right.
That's also dovetails into your real life.
Of course.
Which can be incredibly annoying and taxing to anybody that spends any amount of time with you versus the people who buy a ticket, sit down and watch a 2-hour show.
It's hard for somebody that you're dating to understand that if you're about to go out to dinner and one of your videos is going viral, that's going to interrupt the dinner. You're going to have to keep checking the numbers. And I get caught up in that stuff. I also, your drive, it just fascinates me because I'm pretty sure if I was on America's Got Talent or I had done Deal or No Deal, I would have sat back a little bit. I might have been also scared to produce content thinking I might upset the network. But
I do.
You keep going. And
I upset the network a lot.
You do. And so what happens? What happens when you get the call?
I get a call and they say, either take that down.
Wow.
Or put up an apology.
For what? Give an example.
On America's Got Talent specifically, we had a guy on who, you probably know him or seen him. I think he's from Scotland or Ireland. He's the Regurgitator. Have you ever seen him at the comedy festivals and that? He's amazing. He can actually, he'll like swallow a quarter, a nickel, a penny, and he really swallows it. And then you can call for whatever, and he will throw up whatever.
So
give me the quarter.
Swallowing multiple objects.
And then throwing them up. He's called the Regurgitator.
This is disgusting. This is a talent?
He did really good. He was Heidi Klum's favorite act, I think, to date on America's Got Talent.
Now, what does that say about Heidi? It's bizarre.
You're amazed that a model is drawn towards somebody.
I'm always amazed by who she thinks is funny.
Well, you know what? I'll digress for just a minute.
Yeah.
Heidi is one of the smartest, most wonderful people I know, and she gets a lot of heat, especially from comedians, because she'll comment on it because that's her job, and sometimes people feel like she doesn't get it and she's not great for comedy. Here's the truth. The truth is, when you grow up in a different country and English is not your first language, aside from...
Yeah, but she's been here long enough.
But...
Nuance.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Right.
So nuance,
I said it.
So that's why you said it.
No, I knew you were thinking, you didn't have the word. I mean, you didn't grow up in this country either.
I do, but I was taking a dramatic pause.
Yeah. Is there anybody from America on that show? I don't think there is. There's no judges.
On the panel?
Yeah, there's no.
No.
Really?
Not one.
Do people discuss this?
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we have, as America, we've...
Okay, now we got to put it on silence.
No. You should talk to her. Hello, Terry. Terry.
How can you be in a marriage where she doesn't even know how to use the phone?
I don't know. Oh, you know what's probably... I know what it is. She needs to talk to me.
Yeah, obviously.
She phones me. She's called me with her earplugs in. She doesn't know that I'm answering. She's very much like the girl you like.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll put it on silent.
Maybe we could have Rich text her and say...
Well, I'm going to say... Terry. This
is where viewers are dipping out.
Why? Don't you think they want to hear from Terry? Call Terry and tell her, Rich, call Terry.
Here's the problem with Howie Mandel. You go, what's wrong with Howie Mandel? This is it. It's like we're having a great conversation, but you have to...
It's Rich. Hello?
Terry's calling you.
Why can't we patch this through the board?
What do you call?
I'm calling to tell you that Terry's calling you.
Okay,
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Why don't we have everybody?
Thank you.
This is why I don't have a staff. I don't get pranked. But you can't. You have a need to be interrupted.
No, I have a need to. I have as I don't think I finished the other story, but I'll go back to it.
No, of course not. Your wife interrupted 3 times.
I have FOMO. I have fear of missing out that Oprah talked about. I don't want to miss.
I have the opposite.
I don't want to miss a text.
Okay.
I don't want to.
But if we put that phone over here and took your watch off, would you panic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm holding it, so I don't want to miss it, and that's why you say I text back. I would imagine, I bet I know because we've been friends for a long time. I bet you have texted me while I have been on stage at AGT judging somebody, and I see a text from you, and at the same time as I'm going, that was a very good dance.
Yeah.
I'm going, Orny, okay, I'll call you back in a couple of minutes.
I love that.
I do that all the time. People go, so I will always take a phone call. I'll always text somebody back. I'm so afraid of missing something.
I'm the opposite. I have a fear of being included. I have something called phobia. Like I don't want to go. Like when you invite me to a party or something, like what am I going to wear? Who am I going to talk to?
Well, I don't go to
easier
parties.
To stay home.
I like being home.
Yeah.
I like being, the reason you're coming here, the reason you're in my studio is because I don't want to go to your home.
Right.
I don't want to go to anybody's home.
What anxiety would that have caused?
Everything.
It would have been so interesting to sit in this little Shasta, be on top of each other, me running
everything
the board.
You're saying is a fucking nightmare.
We did it. Remember, we went to a diner and we had to move seats 3 times because of you. But we sat in that small diner in a corner. I couldn't believe you were touching the menu.
Neither could I.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are the voice in my head now. That's exactly what's happening. We're in a diner. I'm touching now you're saying everything my mind says.
But you wanted to stay in the hotel, and I'm like, let's go for a walk. We went to Walgreens because I forgot my hair gel. And,
remember that. See, I don't even want to be with my own hair. So that's when I shaved it off. I don't want to be, I just want to sit in a noisy place alone in the fetal position.
So you sleep in your own room. Your wife is in another room.
No, she's with me.
With the TV on and all the distractions and you using the phone?
That's love.
Wow.
Yeah. She's gotten used to it now.
I get in trouble if I pick up the phone and or if it lights up at some point in the night.
Sounds like a terrific relationship. How long have you guys been together?
A while, quietly. I'm very quiet.
You don't talk about your
personal life. I keep really separate.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. And but when did this develop?
I don't remember life without this. And when you say this being, I was a hyperactive kid. I was born in 1955. And in those years, I don't think people would seek out help or therapy or whatever. I was just this weird kid, who needed, couldn't go to sleep unless it was really noisy, was very, I can't focus for any amount of time.
Would you self-medicate?
Not at 5, but I do. I am sober right now, but I have. COVID knocked the shit out of me. I was drinking and over imbibing on alcohol and marijuana. But I'm not doing that now. But I'm so thrilled that I made it to this side of COVID.
So you don't touch anything?
Nothing.
I remember during COVID, I saw on TMZ that you were struggling, and I reached out to you. I remember.
Yeah, I really was. And I really was.
Did many people, or was I one of the few people that reached out to you?
Most people reached out to me for fun, to go, you were right, because I was the germaphobe, or asking me, doesn't this make you more comfortable because now everybody's living by you? But it didn't, because the moments of solace that I could have with my mental health and my, fear of getting sick was that, Howie, don't worry, you're not going to get sick. Nobody's sick in the real world, and most of the time up until 2020. And then, you couldn't go any place where everybody wasn't afraid, and everybody. So I was never waking up out of this nightmare that was sometimes in my head,
right,
but then I could be distracted and go to work. That's what I loved about stand-up comedy. Was, for me, wasn't something I pursued, wasn't something I really watched or wanted. It was a dare. And that dare for me, aside from whatever, if you want to talk about my career, it is more about my life. In that moment, standing there in front of people that you don't know, who are waiting to be entertained,
right,
who are waiting, it's very scary. Are they going to accept you? Are they going to like you? Is there going to be a mass rejection? It's very terrifying. They say one of the biggest fears humanity has is public speaking. But in that moment, juggling, and if you look at my old videos of okay, like
you still do that. You've done that hand a few times.
It's me. But I was nervous, and that nervous energy was all I was so focused in entertaining and performing and thinking about what was going to come up next that all the other craziness in my head is quiet. I'm not worried when I'm on stage about germs. I'm not worried about getting sick. I'm not worried about...
I'm telling you, it's meditation.
It really is, but it's noisy.
Would it surprise you to know that I've never felt any of those feelings in regards to doing stand-up?
Never felt what?
That fear, that anxiety.
Never?
Never. I'm sometimes anxious, like I want to get up there and do it. But I'm more anxious about, is everybody having a good time? That's it. Well,
it is surprising that you don't have that, because I think whether you're a comedian or not, everybody can relate to the fear or the anxiety attached to public speaking, attached to showing up. People talk about nightmares of showing up at a party and they're in their underpants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what is that? So you're showing up at a party where nobody knows you or everybody knows you, and it's embarrassing. That's the feeling I get from stand-up comedy. I feel like, and I always say this to the comics that show up on AGT, I don't think that we have ever gotten what we are due as far as the respect. And that is because it doesn't look like anything. It just looks like a guy showing up and talking. And
if it's done well.
Yeah, but even if it's not done well, it's almost scarier. The point is, your sensibility and your sense of humor is beyond being naked. It's who you are. And if you're rejected and people are booing you or they're not responding, or it's humiliating.
Right.
It's humiliating. It's awkward. It's painful.
Has that happened to you much?
It continues to happen all the time. I have learned,
you antagonize the audience.
Right. So it becomes I have, in my later years, become very comfortable with discomfort. I live uncomfortably most of the time, so I am really comfortable with discomfort. And my analogy is I do love, this doesn't make any sense, but I love thrill rides. I love rides. I love roller coasters.
Wow.
And the higher and the scarier and the closer to death you think you've become, it's adrenaline. There's an adrenaline.
Have you ever jumped out of a plane?
No.
Oh, why not?
Because I feel like I don't trust myself. I'd have to pull a ripcord or make a decision. I trust the engineering of of somebody who has built a
roller coaster. You ever see the people that put it together?
I'm not talking about the little circus people that travel from town to town where there are more rides than teeth in anybody's mouth.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
But what I'm saying is that kind of, if you like roller coasters and you got on a ride and there wasn't a hill and there wasn't a drop and there was just a breeze going through your hair, that would bore me and I wouldn't get on again. I love that adrenaline of, that thrill of that first drop is what it feels like when I'm doing comedy, but I'm loving it. I don't know. And I purposely, like you say, will antagonize, stop, or create an incredibly awkward moment to try to drop out of that, because that's like a win. And that's also totally encompassing of everything in my mind and my thoughts, so I don't have to think about it.
But it's wonderful when you start ascending again.
Best feeling.
But if you don't, what happens? What's that feeling?
It was a bad ride.
It was a bad ride.
And that happens all the time. I do. And it'll happen sometimes more predominantly at private dates. We get hired, you and me, for a private date, and what I mean by private date, it'll be a corporate.
Right.
So nobody in the audience is there because they're a Howie Mandel fan. They didn't go to a comedy show.
No, the guy who hired you is a Howie Mandel fan. Everybody else just wants to get back to the open bar.
Right.
They do not want to be seated there listening to anything. It's not set up for. I just did one recently.
Right.
It wasn't set up at all. The room was very narrow. It went all the way back. You were completely disconnected. They had a small little screen on the corner that you could watch. You couldn't even see it from the back.
Right.
And the stage was so far away. And they were doing an award show. The people didn't even want to win the awards. They didn't want to be there.
It's usually a sales conference. Right?
Yeah, it was. It was salespeople. And I got up there and I'm very cocky. I'm like, I'll get him. If anyone's going to get him, I'll get him. And I was up there. When I tell you, I didn't even have a moment to take my jacket off. That's the other thing. They make you get dressed up. Now, if the Rolling Stones were doing it, they're not putting on a suit.
Right.
Mick's going to run around in this little, outfit and get away with stand-ups is a different, and they do not want to be there. You can't say certain things.
Well, that's the other thing.
There's a contract that you can't,
So that's the other thing that's kind of disrespectful, but we take the check for it. If Mick Jagger was there, they would never say, do a set, but please don't sing Satisfaction or, Wild Horses.
Right.
Don't, those two songs you can't sing. So our currency are words.
Right.
And they'll say, well, you can't do anything political. Don't say anything R-rated. Don't say, well, why'd you hire a comedian?
Right.
Why did you hire me?
Or they'll say something like, I had one recently that said, don't talk about drowning. One of our employees recently lost a relative, and you're just like, well, does that person live in the real world? Like, it's going to come up.
Wait.
Yes.
No, I have a question. What do you mean? How if that was my edict for the night, that's such a narrow, you have a ton of drowning material?
I've done jokes on being a lifeguard, but it doesn't matter. It's the fact that now that's in your head and you're just thinking, don't get anybody fired. Don't get,
two guys walk into a pool.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't tell you.
One guy doesn't come out. It's weird, but they pay you a lot of money and you never.
I was in a carpool. Is that too close? Is that too?
You can't say pool.
You can't say pool.
You can't say you're a pool cleaner.
Nothing.
Don't mention water. Don't take a sip of water.
Yes.
Don't do anything.
This should be a dry set.
And then you're just looking around going, I wonder who's the person that lost, And then when you're done.
And that doesn't make you nervous hitting the stage with all these.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Well, I get it.
In fact, I've encouraged you. I know that you get calls for gigs that they can't afford you. I say, Howie, send them my way.
No, I don't get the call. I don't get the call until they can afford me. I don't get it goes to my agent. If they make a ridiculous offer, what is considered ridiculous for me, he doesn't pass it along. As soon as it's possibly, he goes, hey, do you have any interest? It's this date. This is what they're offering. The point is that without tooting a horn, because we get a lot more money for corporate than you would get. Okay. Yeah. So even more so, they're harder. And I have a feeling where this person's writing this check and nobody's facing me. Everybody's talking, right. When they go, we set you up, it's a surprise. They don't know there's going to be a comedian. And it's like an open bar, and there's no chairs. So I've played like an arena where there's no chairs, where everybody's just walking around with drinks, talking to each other. Very few people. It's a mosh pit and a comedian don't really go together.
Do you need the money?
I want the money.
Why?
Because the truth of the matter, everything I do in life I'm very competitive and is a game. And I think life is a game. It really is. One of my favorite games ever growing up was Monopoly. So I continually, I don't do comedy, stand-up comedy for the money, because I'll drop in on clubs here 3-4 times a week for free.
Right.
But if I can manipulate and make money, that's my game. Those are my points. And I love playing the game. I don't want to stop playing the game.
Yeah,
and whether it's, we're sitting in my studio right now, but I had a place at Universal, but I wanted my own place so that I could rent out things, and it covers not only my overhead, but it's passive money. I want to, and it's not whether it's $1, a dollar that comes my way from something that I didn't show up with is so exciting to me.
Yeah, I saw it the other day on your podcast. We were doing a live podcast, and people were paying $5, $20 to ask a question, and you were thrilled by it.
Yeah, that's yes. That's a little specific, the super chats that they have. We were just, what I want to do is that's just, I love doing the podcast with my daughter, and the people that I just learned about this. The super chats, I guess they pay, and I notice if they've got a red bar and they've paid something, I want to notice them when that comes up, and I want to engage them because they're paying to be engaged. But that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about more about a residual. If you're, like you always tell me about this, I listen to Sirius Radio, and if you're on Raw Dog or any of those Laugh USA or Legends,
well, Laugh USA is now pure comedy.
I don't know, but if they play, but you're getting those clips that are being paid every month. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. You're getting some money. It's not that I need that money that's coming, but it's like I'm building something it's like, I like pinball, I like pinball too. There's still, when they get the ball caught in a certain thing and it's going ding, 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 and you're not playing. That's kind of exciting. Dollar.
What, don't you worry about what happens with all this money when you're gone? I'm obsessed with it, because we will get in perpetuity, we'll get residuals, we'll be paid for a lot of these recordings, a lot of things that we've done. So it's going to go on. It'll go on to your kids and your grandkids that but it's going to go on beyond that.
I don't think about that.
I do.
Okay.
I do. I barely want the money it's going to go to people that I don't know.
And why does that bother you?
I don't even want it to go to the people that I know now. It's like
So do charity. Do it for free.
It's all I do a lot to charity. A lot goes to St. Jude's. But yeah, you don't think about that at all, do you?
No, because I have
some kid
wonderful
that you've never met before is now living the dream. They're getting all your money. It didn't earn it.
It doesn't matter. I'm doing this for me. My kids, all 3 of my children, are incredibly industrious and work hard and make a living.
Right.
And they do well on their own. Like, you could say that's Nepo kids. You watch on my podcast, you did it with my Jackie. But Jackie, I taught real estate really young. So Jackie has multiple, real estate investments that are earning her money. She doesn't need to do this, and not because she's my child.
And your son, he was here. He's your
my son built
IT
this whole
guy.
thing.
He's the IT guy, and he got upset that he was called the IT guy. And then there's a third kid.
Yes,
no one ever talks about that kid.
She's a secret sister, they call her.
Oh,
Riley. Riley doesn't like to has no desire to be on camera, no desire to have her picture taken. She's married. She just had her first child. She does really well. She got her PhD in physical therapy, and she's a personal trainer now and a mom, and they do really well. And they went and bought a home with her. She's married. Her husband does well, who is a computer programmer. They don't need me.
Yeah.
But having me is a real.
It's not bad. You know what I realized about you? I just realized, because you've done it to me several times. Like, you have so many hang-ups and things that bother you. But then if I say something like, don't you worry about where the money's going to go? You're like, what? What's wrong with you? You're not very accepting of other people's quirks.
Now you sound like my wife. The truth is that...
So I'm not the first to point this out.
No, but I said, like, I have a bad way, which actually works for me, of delivering my curiosity.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? Why are you saying it like that? Why is this like that? And that becomes comedy. But truthfully, I approach something that's confusing with the same vim and vigor as I would as somebody. Like, Terry will always say to me, "Are you mad?" I go, "No, I'm incredulous. I don't understand."
Do you get mad? Do you yell?
Yeah.
You do?
Yes.
I'd love to see that.
I'll talk to Rich, who works here with me for 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Do I yell, Rich?
No. He's so afraid.
He's so afraid.
Yeah,
he says if he knows if he says yes, I will scream at him.
He's gone. When did you get in trouble with AGT? What's one thing that you said that you had to pull down?
Oh, I was telling that story. So the regurgitator was on.
Yeah.
And I said I used as a judging tool for him. I said that you're the one person that makes bulimia entertaining.
Yeah, I
got a big laugh.
Of course it did.
And then they said, because of being an advocate for mental health, there are people that die from bulimia.
Yeah.
There are people that are suffering with it right now.
Yeah.
You shouldn't make jokes. And what I tried to explain to people, I said, for those who are offended, I apologize. And, I'll try to stay away from any content humor that has to do with mental health. That being said, my contention, and I've said this ad nauseum on just about every podcast, you have to realize that a sense of humor, which I believe most people don't have,
right?
They can appreciate it, but they don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
They can enjoy it, but they don't have it themselves. Is to find the sense, to sense the comedy in something dark,
right? In
something that doesn't exist. That's what a joke is. When two guys, when a clown falls down at a circus as a little kid, you're laughing at the at somebody's.
But the fact that your mind went there means other people's mind went there. And I also think there's value in stand-up comedy to saying things that make you feel a little uncomfortable if it creates a discussion.
Well, I truly believe there's no such thing as too soon. Mm-hmm. I truly believe that we are in an era now where people are overly sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that the pendulum is swinging back in the right direction right now. If you look at the people that are selling out arenas and all those Austin guys and the Shane Gillises and all these other people of the world, I think that it's, there was and it's been years and years and years. I think Jerry Seinfeld talked about it. I was just talking to somebody before I came here. It's been years since I was playing colleges. Colleges were the first kind of very liberal, woke kind of audience and I would think that, originally when I started out and I would do college tours with me and Stephen Wright and Mike Binder. That was where anything goes on a college campus.
Yeah.
Then it became like, no, they knew how you can refer to people and how so then it became really hard. And then I think then that became the norm of people getting canceled and doing things. And I get the network being upset with me. I really understand their opinion because I love that show and I love doing that show, and you always have to know who your audience is, whether it's your child or whether you're in front of an audience or whether you have to calibrate to whoever you're talking to.
Was this live?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't they edit it out?
Live.
It was live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is their business model is they are taking money from Ford and from, the Milk Council and whoever these national sponsors are. They have to be they're responsible for sending the right message. So I believe, a responsible broadcaster. So I know where I am. I knew who the audience is. And I had no problem apologizing, except that, when I first got into this business, if I had to choose one thing to do, it would be stand-up comedy.
Really?
And
that surprises me.
Really?
It does.
No, that's what I loved about that.
That means you're a real stand-up.
I don't know what it means, but it means.
Well, I
that's
just told you what it
love.
means.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was so confused. But because that was my freedom, that was the
That's
freedom.
what I'm saying. You've got this AGT cloud over you.
It's not a cloud. I love it.
Look, what if you say something wrong on this podcast? What if they're upset at you for bringing up the regurgitator story? I've
gotten concerned about different things. I there's a picture right above you up there. Do you see that?
Yeah.
That's what's it called? It's called you know what that is? A prolapsed anus.
Oh, I remember this controversy. Yeah.
Well, it became a controversy.
Yeah.
Why would that be a controversy?
It's a medical issue.
Right.
You seem to get in trouble with medical issues.
Why? Oh, bulimia.
Yeah.
You're right. Well, I'm a Jew.
Well, what, AGT, I couldn't do that job.
Why?
I think you're really good at it. I think Deal
Why
or No
couldn't you do
Deal,
it?
you are so good.
Thank you.
You have a great personality. I'm biologically off-putting, but you have this warmth to you and you're really good. But
Thank
I
you.
also could never do it because I would be probably too honest with some of these acts. I would look at them and go, that's garbage. And so even when you compliment me sometimes, like at the beginning of the podcast, I appreciate it. But in the back of my head, I'm thinking, is this AGT Judge Howie?
But the truth of the matter
when
is,
can we take a compliment seriously from you?
here's the difference. Maybe. Do you ever want children?
I could see possibly. I don't know. It
Okay.
seems like at this age, and
No, but let me tell you something.
they're very rude, these kids.
Well, they're honest. They're
Yeah,
good judges.
How are they going to get along with the robots?
I don't know. But the point is that I thought that one day I would grow up, have a child, and teach that child about the world.
Yeah.
And I grew up, had children, and they teach me about the world. And what they teach you is they teach you more than comedy, more than living, more than working, how your actions affect another human being, because you are actually, that is your legacy. The way your children are is basically a shadow of the way you are. And if you have empathy and compassion and respect for a child, you are going to create a person that has empathy, and respect and compassion as a human being. And I learned that really early because I would say things, and then you see how this affects this little person, and it teaches you about life, and it teaches you about the responsibility. So sometimes I do think what I'm seeing on AGT is absolute garbage. But would I say to my son something he brought home, his drawing of these? He tells me it's the family and it's the thing, and should I be honest and say, I don't even want it for the fucking fridge. This is horrible. I would not say that, but it's about it's about how you affect people. So I pride myself on AGT with being constructively honest instead of if I just say it's garbage, then it's just about me. That's what I think about it.
But that's what you're there for, your opinion.
I'm there for my opinion as it, supposedly we are experts. We are four people who have been in the business, different factions of the business.
Yeah.
So even if I tell you that that's garbage in different words, I could say this doesn't work because this is not the stage for it, or this is, maybe this is good at your birthday party with your three friends, but this is not good for a stage. Or maybe you should try, your guitar playing is really good. The singing, maybe you should just be a guitar player. I want to find some positive or some way to direct it instead of going, that's a fucking waste of my time.
Do the producers tell you this act needs to be pushed through?
No.
Be kinder to this act.
No.
Don't they say, hey, just, this is somebody that we could see going through to the finals? They don't do any of that?
No.
They don't really?
No,
They don't
because-
prod? They don't?
No, because
Shocking.
since the Since the what was it, the big controversy over the
quiz show.
Yes. Everything that is considered a competition or a game on television is incredibly protected, like crazily protected for it's got to be by the book. You know, even when I did Deal or No Deal, they would randomly, and they still do this. I'm doing,
Drug test.
Well,
Drug test the suitcase women.
Well,
by the way, could they do that nowadays? Wouldn't all be women, would it?
No, I'm producing the show now. It's Deal or No Deal Island, which is doing okay.
When does that start airing?
It's been on.
Is it online or is it No, I'm being serious. Is it?
No, it's on NBC.
Oh, good.
And Peacock. It's doing very
listen,
well.
And we'll get back to what you were talking about, but I would not belittle your success. I'm in awe of it. I really think
it's a big show.
If you had
I'm not hosting.
Yeah, I know that. That's why it's not doing as well, probably. But no offense to whoever's hosting it. I didn't audition. But yeah, I think if you had just done
Sofia Vergara's ex-husband, that's uncomfortable.
I guess it is.
It is. I go to work with Sofia. I was with her all day yesterday. And then
She said anything to you? Yeah. Okay. Let's hear it. Go ahead.
I got in trouble for people say, Howie, Deal or No Deal is back. Why aren't you hosting? And I got in trouble for saying, they're shooting it at the equator. They are.
Yeah.
It's Deal or No Deal Island. And it's 100 degrees and there's poisonous snakes and bacteria. It's a really dangerous place to be. And I'm very close friends with Sofia Vergara. And she said, please send Joe.
That's great.
And I'm just a good friend.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I don't know that he appreciated that, but it's funny.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Thank you. That's how comedians react to each other. Can you imagine doing a show for a bunch of comedians just sitting in? That's funny. That is really funny. And here's a tag.
See, that's another thing. I don't have a good fake laugh. I've got to work on that after all this time. I mean, you're genuinely a nice guy.
Thank you.
Like what you did to me the other day, I was on your podcast and then you marched me out of here and you brought me into somebody's office and you said, give this guy a shot. Put him on this project.
Okay.
And nobody does that.
Why?
So I appreciate that. I don't know why. I don't know if they don't believe in me or threatened or dislike or
I think you're overthinking. The truth of the matter is
so my ticks are wrong.
Well, I'm not judging. Yeah. I'm telling you that you're overthinking it. I just did it because I think you're funny. And there's all these opportunities. Here's the other thing. As much as I'm competitive, and I use that term lightly, I'm competitive with myself. I want more. I want to do more. I want bigger paychecks. I want bigger numbers. I want bigger.
You're an AGT.
Bigger than me.
You did Deal or No Deal. If you had stopped at doing that stupid bit where you blow the glove up on your head and done St. Elsewhere, you would have already been a legend.
Right. So.
And how many drugs were you doing when you're blowing that thing up? Are you that naturally manic or was that?
Yeah, that was fear. That was just terror. Terror. But the truth of the matter is I like, in finishing my thought that we were talking about, I like to see other people that I admire and think are really good. I like to see you do well. I'd love to see on any show you get, I'd love to see you on that show. If you're doing something that I can catch or there's a special online, I want to watch it and I want it to be good. And you have 5 million people looking at your special now
on YouTube. But is this because Howie Mandel is so successful that you can enjoy other people's successes?
No, because I think that your success doesn't affect me at all.
Yeah.
I think other people are measuring themselves by other people, and I've always measured myself by myself.
But I think that's easy to do with your success, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I felt that way my entire career, my 20s, my 30s, early 40s, and then you get to a point and you think maybe it isn't going to happen for me. And I have no problem with anybody getting a special.
But what is it?
It's a great question. I don't know what it is, but this isn't it. This isn't it. It isn't me doing everything. Everything. I do everything, every aspect of my career I handle.
So?
And
that's your own choice.
To a point.
No,
if the right people came along, I would work with the right people.
You know, we
were the same agents for a while. I love those guys.
Well, you left them.
No, they became CAA and then it became, CAA wasn't
Okay.
giving me the attention that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I would love to be playing bigger venues. I'd love to be selling out. I'd love to travel the way you travel. I opened up talking about flying on Southwest. When's the last time you flew on Southwest? Have you ever been on Southwest? Did you know there's an airline named Southwest? Did you know there's a Burbank airport that's public that we get to use? I know you have your own airport around the corner. Do you know any of this stuff? Do you understand what it's like to be in line? Like it's at the airport, to be mistreated, to check into these hotels, and then to find out that ticket sales aren't as great as they should be because the garlic festivals in town? I mean, it's just, the beatings never end. It is just one. And I think I could be happier with, more happy with just a little bit more.
Well,
just a little bit.
Well, so here's my.
I want to sleep with the TV on. Sorry.
I have felt the same since the first day I got on stage. But I always want more. I don't want more of what somebody else has. I just want to be able, like, it's fascinating to me at my age to still be invited to the party. The fact, you may not believe this, but it's very exciting to me that you, Orny Adams, said, "Will you be on my podcast?"
Come on, really?
Absolutely. At any given moment, my biggest fear is at any given moment, somebody's not, I'll be available. They know I'm available and they don't want me to show up. They don't want me to, I can't play at the club. I drop in now and do sets that I don't get paid for at comedy clubs, because I love doing stand-up comedy. They're allowing me to, and they're happy that I'm there. That I wait for the day that I'm terrified of the day that they're not happy I'm there. Like Howie wants to come on. Let's tell him we have a benefit that night. We're not going to go on. Or they're doing a podcast and they don't want me. Or there's a show going on. There is going to be a time on AGT where they're going to, they'll let me come up with a statement saying I've had enough. But if I say that I've had enough and I'm moving on, I'm telling you right now on your podcast, it's not going to be true. It's me trying to save face that they didn't want to pick up my contract anymore. Wow. And I can't tell you in any given day, you're talking about the Garlic Festival, you didn't sell tickets. I go in, I love producing and I love putting things together and I love projects. I can't tell you how many times, even now, I will walk into and I'll say, and I'll host it for you. But, we like the idea, but you don't have to. You don't have to.
And that kills you.
Well, it's not good for my ego, but my ego is constantly, there's nobody, you talk about the level that you believe that I've reached. So when I get rejected, and I don't think 2 or 3 times, I don't think I'm underestimating 2-3 times a week, my ego is kicked in the fucking nuts.
So it's the same thing as being on stage. Everybody's laughing. You're focusing on
that
the one person that's not laughing.
Right.
So let me explain to you how I feel, because I produce stand-up. It's the one thing I can do. It's the one thing I can do. If you said sit down and write, I could sit down and write. And then I could get on stage and do it that night with confidence. And I know how to do it for me, and it'll work. So I have 2 hours worth of material that I'd love to do a special. And I just can't get it done. And I always think I'm going to meet somebody, Kevin Hart's talking about me on Howard Stern, and maybe Hart will do it. Maybe this person will do it. So imagine, Howie, that you wake up and all this that's in your head. And believe me, I know what's going on. I know how fertile your brain is and how excited you are, because the fact that you put so much into producing my podcast today, this was your idea. You helped me set up and do the design. You helped me, like, you cared. Your staff was texting me all weekend saying, hey, we're thinking of doing this. What do you think of that? And I just know. So imagine that head. You can't get those thoughts out. You can't. There's no TikTok. There's no Instagram. There's no YouTube. There's nothing. There's no X. You have no outlet. Imagine how that would feel. And you feel like you have something to say. You feel like you have a thought.
Except that there is that. So you're creating a world that doesn't exist. What the beauty was, when I made a decision that I wanted to pursue comedy after I'd been doing it a little bit in Toronto, I knew what I had to do. and I made my way to California. There was 2 stages where you could have been seen and propel yourself. One being the Comedy Store was where I went, and the Improv. So, but I got there. Today, as I say to people, just do it. Whether you put something stupid up on TikTok,
I agree.
Whether you put you're creating, like you're saying, you got 2 hours and you want to write. If you have another 2 hours right now, you should just do it. Throw a camera in front of yourself and throw it up on YouTube.
Because I feel like if you saw my last special, I feel like I want to give it the best shot possible. But I have it in my notes that you're an inspiration because you do it. And I'm doing more and more. I'm finally putting out my special on YouTube that I own. I tried to sell it to Netflix. I'm putting out short clips of it. It breaks my heart to break it up.
But you
and I are very different. There's a reason I never went on AGT. And AGT asked me for years, to the point, like, it was sort of suggested that I would certainly get through to a certain round. That's why I had asked you that question before.
So here's my thing. I think the worst enemy to everybody in life is thought. Thought.
That's all you have.
No. What we have and what we don't go by is instinct. We as humans are the most instinctual of all species. Yeah. And our instinct is always works for us.
You don't think when the fly in the house keeps banging off of the same window over and over again that they have good instinct?
No. But I think that's a funny bit. But we do have instinct, and that instinct is, I just know. If you would just act on everything and then just dial your attitude where, well, that didn't work, but I know what not to do next time, and that didn't work. But what happens is we end up with a full plate of shoulda, coulda, woulda, and very little I did. And if you do, like, even if you put out that 2 hours, if you put the 2 hours and you took you just did it on your iPhone tonight, and you do an iPhone special, a 2-hour iPhone special from the Laugh Factory on YouTube, there is a chance. I'm not saying that that's what you should do. I'm just saying that who knows whether that could blow up and be the hottest special ever.
You don't know, but there's also the fear that you'll never write like this again. So if this
save it and nobody should hear it.
I guess so.
There's also the fear that you can walk out of this building and get hit by a fucking bus.
Yeah.
If you're thinking, these are always reasons for not to do it. No, the reason when you say no, I always say my philosophy is no is the first 2 letters, N-O, of nothing. Nothing comes from no. I say yes, I answer, and I do.
Well, what comes from yes? Yes.
Every piece of success. Yesterday I did well.
Yeah.
But yes, every success I've had is because I've done it. The only difference between you and Elon Musk is he did it and you didn't. You're not focused on whatever he's focused on.
Well, that's why I say you're an inspiration. And I really believe that, because what a lot of people don't understand, and you sort of touched on it a second ago, and it was something I wanted to discuss, coming from Canada and making it in the US, this isn't now. When you did it, it was difficult. It was hard. You had to get working papers. You had to come here. You had to establish yourself. You're sort of not agreeing with me with your eyes, but you're not giving yourself credit.
Difficulty is not real. Difficulty is manufactured in your own mind. What is difficult? The fact is, at that time for me, I said to myself, well, I'm 23 years old. I don't have any responsibility. I don't have any kids. My girlfriend who's my wife now, was so like the best cheerleader in the world. You're the funniest guy at Yuck Yucks. Let's give this a shot. Let's go to California. It was more, wow, isn't this great? I was doing nothing. It wasn't, but if you pursue something like saying, like if it was in your mind that, millions of people have a dream of coming down here and doing something, and what are the chances and what are the odds? They're really against you. And what can I do? And if I do this, they won't like it. And they don't, that would make it difficult. It's how you approach everything. Like I would have said to you.
You could have thought, I'm going to stay longer. This is what I would have done. I'm going to stay longer in Canada, work Yuck Yucks in the local clubs.
Overthinking.
And develop. That's what I do. That's what I'm saying. I get in my own way.
But everybody who thinks gets in their own way. Like I would have done and still would do AGT. And I'll tell you why. and this is what I say to everybody. Everybody goes, like they treat you. I had a friend on it. You know Dan Natterman?
Yeah, of course.
He's great. He's one of my favorite comics. Simon didn't like him. And then he told Simon, you may know music, but you probably know comedy. You would know your comedy from an asshole. He said on stage. They put it on the air. It was one of the best moments. It's a viral moment. A lot of comics, and the same thing for singers, who come on. Where are you going to get a platform that in one night live, you're going to get 6 million views?
I agree.
We had 3 billion. Last year, they just told, Terry Crews told me yesterday, last season, we had 3 billion views internationally online on YouTube. So the point is that if 4 people, and I'm talking about the judges, go, that's not worthy of going forward. And even if that audience doesn't laugh, if you can get your thing seen by 1 billion people,
I agree,
or 100 million people, there's always more in any given night or any given thing that I do. Regardless of how many people are listening to this podcast, there's billions more that don't. There's billions more that won't like me. There's billions more that aren't laughing. There's billions more that won't agree. You know who Gary Vee is?
Yeah, I've seen the clips with you talking with him.
But Gary Vee says, it's kind of micro PR. If you pick up 3 more viewers, another 50 people saw you on AGT, and that's why they show at the club instead of the Garlic Festival, you're only propelling yourself forward. You can't propel yourself back. You can't. So it's just like, do you take a bigger swing? Do you take a littler swing?
Yeah.
If you're already professional, a couple last year, I think Michael Winslow was on. They had voices. Police Academy.
But
he was a comedian. He started out with me. They revived his career. He's getting more money in the clubs now. And so are all the other people that have ever been on.
Right.
Preacher Lawson launched this thing. You're an established guy, but maybe you want to take it to the next level, or maybe you want people to see you that have never seen you before.
Right.
That's the reason to do it. I get what the thought process is and why people don't want to be. It's hard enough to do comedy. You don't want to be
subjected to people that may not necessarily know. Some of the judges aren't comedians.
Right.
And 2, in my head, as crazy as this sounds, it's always every step I took for my career was measured against, would Bob Dylan do this? And you're always fed this bullshit. You didn't grow up in America, but we have this dream that we were fed. But we're also told the cream rises to the top. And you think, I'm going to get there. I'll get there no matter what. It may just take more time. And
you know what? The cream rises to the top unless you have some sort of filter in there and you hold the cream down at the bottom.
Yeah.
You are stopping the cream. The way the cream rises to the top is what ear sees that cream? What eye sees that cream? What ear hears that cream? And if you could get your message out, there isn't a day that goes by, even now, at my age, when I don't have one post on TikTok, one post on X, one post on Instagram, one post on the story, and it's like...
You were doing it all weekend. I was worried. You're posting clips of us. What if this? Let's play a fantasy game. What if... You like games. What if we took everything away from you? AGT, we took away everything you've had, and you're now a comedian that has to start over. Do you think you could do it again?
Do I think I could? That's not how I think. I think I would.
You would? Okay.
It's not whether you're saying could.
Okay, go ahead.
Just show up. That's all you have to do. Somebody said 99% of success is just showing up. Just show up. My show at AGT is the perfect example of that. After I was on it for 4 years, this is my 15th year, my personal 15th season.
You're one of the originals, season. Right?
No, it's been on for 19 years.
Okay, I got it.
But it was David Hasselhoff, Brandy, and Piers Morgan, I think, was the third.
You ever see Hasselhoff eat a hamburger drunk? It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh, he does it for the kids. The kids like, videotape me, honey. Anyway, what I was saying was, I forgot what I was saying, but...
You were saying that you could do it again.
No, I would do it again. You're saying could.
Okay.
Would.
All right.
Like could, you're putting, like what could you do?
Okay, how about this?
What would you do? I would just do it, and then whatever happened.
Okay, how about this? Maybe what blocks me, I didn't want to make this about me, but maybe I'm just using me.
No, you're more the norm than I am.
As an example against, somebody like you that has this enlightened outlook.
It's not enlightened.
Maybe what blocks me at times is what propels my art on stage.
I think you've convinced yourself of that.
No, I just had the thought.
I don't think it's right.
Okay.
I think you're a really smart guy who sees things really clearly, but you're an overthinker and always have been. And my first introduction to you was always overthinking. And I think that's what most people do. Most people think, I feel like I talk about this almost on every podcast, but since in morning radio, they used to talk about hump day. Hump day is Wednesday,
right,
where most people, the thought is that you're getting over a hump of waking up every day and doing the shit that you have no interest in doing and you don't want to do. You just think you have to do it because you got to pay the rent.
Right.
And then you get to the weekend.
Getting through the week.
Where you're not even doing anything great. You're just not doing the shit you don't want to do. So most people are waking up and doing things they think they have to do. It isn't what they would do. It's what they can do. It's what they believe they should do. It's what that has been told to them, but not, when you think about what, you've gotten halfway there. I've gotten a little further there. And I'm not talking about success. I'm talking about I'm meeting your family. This makes sense to me because it's very close to my family.
Met my family in New Hampshire.
Yes.
When I was opening for you.
But you come from the same kind of upbringing that I do somewhat. And the thought of, you have no connections to Hollywood whatsoever. The thought of growing up and being a stand-up comedian is so far.
Yeah. Not what they wanted.
It doesn't mean what they wanted. It's what they want for you is they want success. What they want for you is they want happiness. And what is taught to most people is you go to school, you get a degree, and you go get a job.
Right.
And you get a good paying job. And then with that good paying job, you borrow even more than you're ever going to make to go buy a house. You get married and you have a lot of kids. And you have a lot of responsibility so that you can never leave that job. You are strapped to that job, and that's what life is supposed to be.
Right.
That's what you should do. The fact that you meandered off of that path, but still stayed with the mindset that path gives you, like you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, this is too risk. You took a big risk, but you're risk adverse.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It is weird. It's a dichotomy.
It sure is.
And the truth is, with me, in my mind, if I made the choice to move to California, even coming from Canada, most people that I grew up with live within a 10-mile radius of that's where they went to school, that's where they're working, and that's where their parents live. For me to be here in a place that I only saw in movies, no even thought of, and almost 70 years old, doing what I'm doing and sitting here today and just doing this. I mean, you're not paying very well for this.
No,
podcast.
I pay what you pay.
Right. Zero. But I'm saying this is I could find a million reasons if I wanted to think, not to be on this podcast.
Yeah.
Not to do this.
Most people do.
Right. But I'm just saying that I should. I'm almost 70 years old. I worked till late last night, all weekend. I worked every day.
You were shooting AGT all
I was
weekend.
shooting AGT. It takes a lot. Maybe somebody would say, rest or stay.
Did you take a nap ever?
I don't nap, but I could do nothing. I can't do nothing.
Do you wake up tired?
I'm always tired.
Oh,
if I think about it.
Good. That makes me feel better.
I'm tired right now.
I'm trying to look into your eyes, but to see if they're bloodshot or so you're tired.
They're barely open. I want to get. I was talking about getting surgery on my eyelids.
Don't want you to go down that road.
Not to look younger, to be able to see. When I get really tired, the weight of my eyelid, I can't open my eyes.
Yeah, my eyelids they don't tell you this stuff happens when you get older. They don't, like when I wash my hair, soap gets in my eyes now. If they're closed, I can still see. I'm just saying my eyelids are not as good as they used to be.
That's not order. You should shampoo with your eyes closed.
I do, but the soap gets in there. It's not as...
But that's not because you're older.
The seal is not as good as it used to be. People don't talk about that. They don't talk about that.
They don't talk about it. Nobody really relates to it.
So have you ever had a bad review, or how about a great review that you were just so proud of?
The best reviewed thing I've ever done was Deal or No Deal. They gave me good reviews for that, and a show on Netflix called Bullshit. Those are the only two things I've gotten good reviews.
How about your stand-up? You ever go into a city and the critics review you?
No, I'm not a reviewer's darling because I'm a little silly. and I'm not topical. And a lot of times I used to have a lot of props. It's so that I was not respected in the world of stand-up comedy by the literary world.
How about by other comedians? Who are your contemporaries?
Oh, on the Young Comedian special that I did for HBO, it was me, Seinfeld, Richard Lewis, Harry Anderson, and it was hosted by the Smothers Brothers.
Wow.
So I never garnered the respect that any of those other people got. But
Why do you say that?
because I know.
How do you know what people are saying behind your back?
It wasn't even behind my back. I can't tell you for how many years I was a joke on the top 10 list. I've talked about this with Scott, with Carrot Top, who also deserves a lot of respect.
I agree.
For he's a very funny guy who engineers his own props and material, and he's been selling out. He's got his own residency in Vegas, and he does really well. And you become, and before him, I was a punchline. I can't tell you how many nights David Letterman would say, and number 10, we'll give you 2 tickets to sit through a Howie Mandel concert.
Wow.
So.
But isn't that somebody you worked with at the Comedy Store?
Yeah, I was there at the beginning.
Were you close with him, or was
apparently not? No.
Wow. So he meant that.
No, I don't know that he even wrote it. He just said it.
Yeah.
But
It's hurtful. So
hurt
don't
my
you want to
feelings.
disprove those people?
There was a time when I did, and then I feel that you can't make, you have to. I try, because I got so much negativity in my mind, to focus on the positive. So I focus on all the people that come to the show and enjoy the show and buy tickets and want to come see me again, rather than any given place where you land.
Would you ever consider, now that you've done as much as you've done, taking that risk on stage and being as real as you're being on this podcast? Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what Howie I was going to get today. This is the Howie I was hoping. I could talk to you for 25 hours like this. I think it's fascinating, and I feel like you're revealing yourself in a way that you ordinarily don't. And I think if you did that on stage, have you ever thought about really getting into this stuff on stage?
But I have,
funny?
I do. I wrote a book. I wrote a New York Times bestseller.
Good for you.
Here's the Deal, Don't Touch Me. It was my autobiography. And I had a lot of really funny stories about me coming up in the business and all my experiences and all the great people that I've worked with. And woven in and out of that, I would have my thoughts and things like this, and my traumas and my mental health and that. And the editor would slowly whittle away a lot of the funny little anecdotes, and it became, the title is Here's the Deal, Don't Touch Me. So it became about my mental health and my journey along with my career. And from time to time, I get hired as a speaker, right, rather than a comedian, where I talk about mental health and hopefully motivate people. And then just by virtue of talking about that and who I am, obviously there's humor woven in. But I do that a lot. I'm a spokesperson for a company called No CD, which is this amazing company. Originally I was hired because I've been open, but now I'm a part of the company. I'm partnered with them because they have created when people have mental health problems, you live in the middle of nowhere. And even, outside of the coast, how do you go find help? Well, now you can find it online. It's insurable. It costs no money. You can be diagnosed and they can take care of you. So I truly believe.
What is it called?
No CD. No CD.
Huh. But here's the deal. There is no editor on stage. You could tell these stories, and then you could break it up with really, you could tell Deal or No Deal story. I do that. I do that. To me, it'd be funny if you came out and you said to somebody in the audience dressed a certain way that's funny. You could say, here's what I want to say, but here's what I would say if I was a judge. And then you clean it up the way you do. Is that the best shirt you could have picked for the night? Or I think that you have so much to give. And I think you really could get it out there.
We always, we try, and I say, listen, if it, especially in these corporate dates, when it's instead of doing stand-up comedy, we always say, hey, do you want to do a Q&A? you want to put a moderator on stage?
Yeah, that'd be great. I think that's
and sometimes they go for it, but sometimes they go, no, we want the Howie Mandel we know and love. And then you get there and they go, don't say anything about drowning. Don't say anything with the letter L in it.
Yeah,
and then you're just.
But on your regular act, you know what I mean? Like
I do.
Yeah.
I do talk. I do. I'm more authentically talk about, what happened. That's why I love dropping in on the Ice House and the Laugh Factory.
You should run stuff by
Store.
me. I would be more than happy to help. And I'm not looking for a job. I'm just saying.
But I run it by an audience. I don't pre-prepare. I like to show up and see how it comes out. I really do.
Maybe that's lazy. Maybe you need to.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
I think I'm lazy.
You're also what?
I'm lazy and I'm driven. But I like to be not. No preparation for me is also my. I don't know what it is my formula. Like I also, Rich, who has worked with me for 30 years, when I come and do a show, like even, you do a talk show, they'll do a pre-interview. I won't do the pre-interview. I have him do the pre-interview and maybe go over, I said, gloss it a little bit, but I'm going to go off. But you can't tell the producer that you're going to go off because they want to know.
Yeah.
But I don't want to prepare. I don't want to be scripted.
And you see how different you and I are? I'm showing up with props, stuff from my trailer, brought pictures in. I have pages of notes that we didn't get to, which is great. That means it's a great interview, great conversation.
How many notes did I have when you were on mine?
You've none.
None.
But you do a much looser. I want to get into what is Howie? Who is Howie? What's wrong with Howie? What's great about Howie? And I saw a side of you today that I don't ordinarily see. What I do is I prepare. I prepare for is Howie, who's going to interrupt and try and derail me or prank me, going to show up, or is this Howie going to show up? So you can ask your producer. I've sent multiple links, stories to discuss that are in the news, videos to go over. In fact, we should go over this video. I want to play the video. I got a tremendous review. I know I crapped all over Las Vegas, and I told you this weekend, I said I can't stand the audience. I have this guy came to see my show the last time I was there. I play every few months at the
guy?
Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club.
What does his shirt say?
I'm going to plug. He discusses it. Let me. I don't know if you have dates coming up, but I want to plug where I will be. Okay.
All right.
March 23rd, 24th, this weekend. I'll be in Chicago at the Teen Wolf Convention, the Epicons Convention. On Sunday night, I'm doing a show for the Teen Wolf fans, which is really funny because they're
fans.
Yeah, and it's a more homogenized thinking crowd. So, but I don't alter my act.
Well, that's good.
Which is funny.
That's good.
And so I'll be there. May 4th, I'll be at a new comedy club here in Los Angeles, Kookaburra Lounge.
Never heard of it.
It's just opening. In fact, it's this comedian Katie and her husband. Her husband wrote "All I Want for Christmas Is You" from Mariah Carey.
Really?
Mariah Carey. So he's got "All I Want for You." For Christmas Is You money that he's pumped into this club. So I'll be there for the Netflix is a Joke Festival, May 4th at the Kookaburra Lounge. And then May 10th, I'll be at the Spats Theater, where? Halifax, Canada.
Wow.
And then it doesn't stop there. I go right on to Yuck Yucks in Ottawa, May 11th.
Wow.
You can go to ornyadams.com/tour for my dates. If they want to see you, how do they see you?
Aren't they just looking at the screen?
Yeah, but they want to see you do stand-up.
Oh, go to howiemandel.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, and figure out where I am.
Check out his podcast and
everything.
Everything. So I got this amazing, that was my website. You can go to ornyadams.com/tour, and then they can email me. I get these great emails from deranged people.
People have come to see you, and you're saying this one guy came to see you?
Yes.
And what did he do?
Well, I just want to say, if you want to email me, it's whatswrong@ornyadams.com.
All right.
And you can email me there too, Howard.
Okay. If you want to email me, don't. Just
Howard,
check out where I am.
Can you show this guy's screen? Because the best part about this review, it's the best review I've ever gotten.
He's a reviewer?
He's not. He's a fan who was there, and he has, show the number of subscribers he has.
Can you see that?
This is what's great.
Oh, here it is. There it is.
1 subscriber.
No comments.
No comments.
Wait.
How many views we got? 8?
The funniest stand-up comedy show.
That he's seen.
I have seen. Okay, so what did he say?
Well, let's play this, and then we can comment on this because I'm very proud of this.
I'm always afraid to read reviews. What?
I've done a lot of videos about beer. Today I want to talk about comedy shows, stand-up comedy shows. I've been going to comedy clubs for about 40 years, maybe more than that. I've been to some of the big name clubs. I've been to some dives.
Hold on a second.
Seen some big
Shouldn't
name
this guy be a
comedians.
judge?
I've seen some.
Shouldn't this guy be a
hold
judge
it.
on...
Stop it. Stop it.
This guy should be a judge on AGT, right, for comedy?
Because he goes to a lot of places, been to a lot of big name clubs.
40 years he's been watching comedy.
Well, how do you garner one follower if you're not around for a time? And how wide can you sit with your legs apart so you can hold on to your nuts? He's tickling his nuts below the screen. You can't
back it up a little bit. Yeah. Well, he gets into that a little bit later. But let's hear his qualifications.
Okay.
Some of the big name clubs. I've been to some dives, seen some big name comedians. I've seen some nobody comedians. But I'll tell you, I never laughed as hard as I did recently when I went to Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club in Las Vegas. Now, I was in Vegas, and my wife and I were looking for a show to see. We, looked up what was playing that night, found that pretty close to our hotel at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club at the Link.
They wouldn't have walked far from me.
Orny Adams. Now, I didn't know Orny. Maybe I should have. I looked him up on his Wikipedia page, saw he was from Boston. I'm from Boston, if you can't tell.
Not New Hampshire?
And normally I like Boston comedians. They kind of got a
You're not a Boston comedian, are you?
Yeah, I am.
To them.
Yeah, this guy knows with his
The
one
minute that
subscriber.
Orny stepped on stage, I knew this guy was going to be funny. He just looks funny. And I say that in a positive way. I know he's sort of trying to make it look like he's funny. And he did not disappoint.
They don't get
He
everything
was
right,
great.
these
I'm telling
reviewers.
you, I never laughed as hard. Now, why was the show so great? I would estimate that 75% of the show was ad-libbed. It was him interacting with the customers in the audience and not just
Let's stop it there. Let me explain why I'm doing that. These people are so dead. You have to talk to the audience in Vegas. They've been walking around all day with these big yard glasses of booze, drinking since 8 a.m. They have nothing. You can't get up there and do jokes. You have to interact.
I love the fact that if he's reviewing a comedy show, I just love the fact that he refers to audience members as customers. So he interacts with the customers.
Oh, that's interesting.
He didn't say audience. He interacts with the audience. He interacts with the people. No, these are customers.
Howie.
And the customer is always right.
Yeah, Howie, he understands the economics of business. He has one subscriber.
He does. And he knew who he was watching because since he read your Wikipedia, he's become a huge fan.
I just want to say this. I actually love this guy. I'm going to make fun of him, but he made this video for me.
With all the shows and all the opportunities that Vegas has to offer, he found you on Wikipedia.
Because I was close to the hotel.
Yes, close to the hotel. Go ahead.
Some, set that he's done a million times. Talking about what people were wearing, maybe laugh at what I'm wearing right now. What people were eating. These people are actually sitting right next to me, and I had noticed that what they were eating was pretty funny too. It was hilarious. This guy was just great. We thought about going back the next day. I kind of vetoed that, figuring why go see the same show 2 nights.
Wait, stop it right there. Stop it right there.
Yeah.
So he said, what I loved about this guy is he interacted. It was mostly off the cuff. It's not like one of these acts that you see a million times. So I decided not to go back tomorrow because I don't want to see the same act again.
Right. It contradicts.
Didn't he just say?
He did, Howie.
And the fact that he looked at the people next to him and noticed what they were eating was funny. The fuck were they eating that was funny?
I can't imagine. These are my fans, Howie. If you could not, please don't make fun of my fans.
Were they licking live hamsters? What were they doing that he noticed? He doesn't have an act. Had he had an act, he could have taken it on. What does his shirt say?
It says, give me beer that tastes like beer. And underneath it, I think a pumpkin is crossed off, a watermelon, and lemon. So he's basically saying, none of this fuffy. I don't know what the word is. He wants a beer that tastes like a beer.
My wife.
Does she not get the point?
Hello?
This is why you have a...
Hi. No, this one answered. Yeah, I'm on Orny Adams' podcast.
I thought you were already done.
No.
So did I.
No.
So did I.
People keep calling. What is it like to be married to Howie Mandel?
No, this is my daughter. This is Jackie.
No, this is Jackie.
Oh, You said it's my wife again and answered.
I thought it was my wife, but it's my daughter. I recognize the voice.
Is this important or something we can pick up in 10 minutes?
It's not important. I just wanted to gossip. You can call me back.
How about a group text to the family to stop calling? We'll let you know when we're out of this thing.
Sorry. Bye.
Bye.
All right, let's finish this thing up. I think he's at the end. And then one more thing, we'll let you. What?
The next night, it would have been better than what we did. I'd also recommend Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club.
All right, stop it there. He doesn't tell us what he did. I'd like to know what he did.
What do you mean?
He said we should have gone to see Orny Adams' show, but we didn't, and it would have been better than what we did.
Oh.
So what'd they do?
Well, you didn't let him finish. Maybe
No, I finished it. He doesn't ever disclose it.
Because this looks like it is interesting to figure out what he did. Because when you look at this guy, even without listening, you go, "Oh, there's a fun guy. That's a guy. That's a party. It's a party of one." Go ahead.
He's a guy who knows comedy
and T-shirts, and he's enjoying his own nuts.
That's my audience.
There you go.
Howie Mandel is my guest. I can't thank you enough for doing this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it.
I really did. And I believe that you've thanked me enough.
Well, I mean it. And my fear is because we joke around a lot. And when I come on your podcast, I have a different, personality. I'm more flippant.
But that's funny.
So this wasn't funny.
This is, I think, more in depth.
Yeah.
This was like the 60 minutes of what I do.
This will be part of your legacy. This will be quoted a lot. This is like a real pocket. This isn't like, one of your prank things, like when you had Dana White on and he fake left and stuff like that.
Fake leave.
Okay. I mean, the thing is, if Dana White left my podcast, people would say, Orny was probably a jerk to him, so he got up and left. You're just known for pranks. Like, what's that story? Somebody told me a great story about how they pranked you, because you're big into pranks.
They pranked me?
Yeah.
I don't know what the story is. Give me a hint.
Somebody you worked with.
Yeah.
I was in a business meeting with them. They tried to develop a show for me. In fact, a game show. And they said, Howie was always pranking people. And so what I did was I got these, I bought him for his birthday, I think, a painting from a very famous artist.
Yes, I know about this. I remember this.
So you actually did get pranked.
Badly. And it's ended up still being a bad thing. It's my manager, Michael Rotenberg, who owns 3 Arts.
Yes.
Is that who you were in the business meeting with?
No, it wasn't.
Do you know 3 Arts?
Of course I do. Yeah.
So I was their first client. Michael and me have been best friends since we were 13.
Okay.
So at one of my birthdays, he presented me. I like art, and I go to art shows. And he presented me with this painting, which was kind of like a Pollock, the kind of, what do you call that?
Abstract.
Abstract.
They take
yeah,
the
like that.
Paintbrush and it looks like something a kid would do.
Yeah, and he said it's called Autumn, and this won a prize at some Beverly Hills thing, and it was just really the sentiment of him knowing that I loved art and that. So I really loved it. I had it framed. I spent a fortune on having it framed, and we put it up in the first house that I bought. And when even after St. Elsewhere, when I moved into another house, my wife hired a designer and a decorator, and she told him how important this was to me. And he designed a wall in an area where this gift and treasure would be. And then in the third house, my wife said, to be honest with you, what we want to do with this house, that art doesn't really fit. Is there any... I've given you like 20 years of this art.
Right.
It was he gave it to me for my 30.
Have you ever had it appraised, or
no,
did you ever Google the artist and buy another piece?
No, and why if a friend, like a brother, gives you a gift, why would you appraise?
I just want to know how good of a brother and
it wasn't about the value, it was about the sentiment.
You gave me a couple of jackets the other day. I go home, the first thing I do is I Google.
Were they expensive?
One of them was $1,000. John Barbados. So thank you.
Can I have it back?
It's at the dry cleaners.
Okay. I wore it once.
One of them you didn't wear, but I still dry clean everything before I even wear it, because I imagine it in the store, people trying it on, and then they put it on the ground, they're kicking it around, so.
So anyways, at my 50th birthday, so my wife said, we're moving into another house, the house we live in now, and it just doesn't fit the decor or anything. So I decided to do something nice. So I donated it to an orphanage, and it is in the lobby of this orphanage from, and it says they showed it was dedicated and, from the
Mandel family.
Yeah, dedicated from the collection, Mandel collection. And it's there.
Like you're some great purveyor
and
of
I'm going to
art.
be honest, I took I thought I was I never got
generous.
praised, but I took a tax deduction. They gave me a little, but I hardly took anything, but it was.
All right, you're not going to jail. It's been long enough. But yeah, you over-deducted.
On my 50th birthday,
Yeah.
Michael, who attends, hands me an envelope with a birthday card. And in that birthday card is a Polaroid, that's how old this is, of him drunk on the floor, high, throwing paint on a piece of shit paper. Going, does that look familiar? And I go, is that the painting? He goes, yeah.
That's such a great...
So I had this piece of shit. And I don't want to throw the orphanage, but you can go to the orphanage now. Oh. It's still hanging.
I thought you gave it to them to auction off. I thought that was the story.
No.
And then they called you and said, hey, this is no value to this.
No, for my 50th birthday, I got that envelope with a Polaroid of him making a mess on a piece of paper while he was really drunk and high. Yeah.
On your podcast the other day, I talked about this, about how I do sometimes come here and I go shopping in your, you have a wardrobe section because you'll wear something once on AGT and then you're not going to wear it again.
Right.
I don't know where it's going to end up. So I take it. Right. Well, I took a sweatshirt about 2 years ago and my girlfriend forbid me from ever. I thought it was great.
Right.
And I tried to.
I love that you listen to somebody who wears a blindfold and earplugs.
I tried to.
Fashion.
Thank you. I tried to describe it to you the other day, so I brought it in. This is the actual sweatshirt that I
like
still
that.
like it. Yeah, I think it's great. But look at the pockets on the front.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I don't know who designed this, but
me either. Well, it says there's probably a tag.
It looks like a straight jacket. It says inside American Stitch. I'm thinking of giving it to one of my fans. I got this guy named Mike Foster that buys about 20 shirts every time he comes to flies all over the country to see my shows. Thinking of
you're going to sell him your clothes? Your merch is your own clothes that you took from somebody else?
No, I have actual shirts that I sell. I wore one the other day on your podcast.
No, I know, but you're just going to give him, why don't you bring a lamp? You should have, instead of a yard sale, people after the show, go see. You want a lamp from Orny's room, an old shirt he took from Howie Mandel.
Can you imagine a shirt that you wore and I wore, the value?
Yeah, it's probably almost $22.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have it framed and I'm going to have it put in the orphanage next to the painting. Howie loves
the children are our future.
You love to, we'll finish with this. You love to antagonize your audience. You like that. You like to create the tension, which I do too, but not to your extreme. And so we're talking about pranks, and I was always curious if this was a prank on me or not. When I opened for you, I know you've been doing this for years. You play this song. Don't play the Howie version. Play the one from Lawrence Welk. This guy, because there's a great introduction. This, of course, is Lawrence Bullfrog Hooper, who is on the Lawrence Welk show. And
Larry Hooper. I know Larry Hooper. I've used him many times. You want to play this?
I'm going to play. He was born in Independence, Missouri. But listen to this intro. This is a song. We'll just play a few seconds of this. Go ahead.
Hear it again.
Oh, wait. Play it. Stop it. Wait, hold on. Play this one from the beginning, because I like the intro from Lawrence Welk. Now, he was very sick at the time of this.
Who was?
He did this. Larry.
How do you know?
He ended up dying. I read because unlike you, if someone gave me a piece of art, I would investigate. I'd read about the artist. I know where I spent the weekend reading about this guy.
He was sick during this?
Yes. And lip syncing.
Well, let me hear. Let me see. Let me hear the introduction.
Now on with the show. The first recording Larry Hooper ever made was a pretty big hit, and we thought you might like to hear it again.
Geritol in the background. You see that?
The sun is shining, oh happy day. No more troubles and no skies.
It is a catchy song.
I know. So I saw this. You want me to tell the story?
Yeah. You
Okay.
go ahead.
So, being on the...
Before you tell that story, just so you understand the rabbit hole I get into.
Okay.
Oh, you're going to put those back on again.
I have to?
I actually then went online and found people covering the song.
Go ahead.
So play that guy with the... Look at this guy. You're a judge. What do you think? You gave the judge look like, whoa, something's going on here.
Wasn't expecting that voice.
Yeah.
The sun is shining, a happy day. No more troubles and all skies are gray. Ever since you said those words to
Are you letting this guy through, or are you?
Well, not only that, I'm going to take the tape from you after this, and I'm going to recut this into that. This is going to be my new one.
Oh, good. So show the one that Howie does.
So let me just tell you.
Yeah, tell the story.
Yeah. So I when you're in a hotel room, you end up watching like. I have the TV on all day.
I know.
So you're in Oklahoma someplace, and the Lawrence Welk show comes on. You know.
Come on, what year is this? Because that's.
It still comes on, and you go in the middle of it. You watch MeTV or any of these. It's still on everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially in the middle of the country. And I saw this, so I recorded that off the TV.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I recorded. I had a big camera with me on a VHS. I recorded it off the TV, and then I took it home. And I've always been in editing, and I would do it myself. And I looped it. I took that song and let it start over and over and over again for like 15 minutes.
Right.
With the intention of, I love when we do these concerts, the lights go out,
right.
People's anticipation of they're about to see an evening with Howie Mandel.
Right.
They roar, and then this tape comes on, and it doesn't stop.
Wait, they like it at first. They're clapping along.
Well, they think it's a show. They don't know what it is. And then I've got it perfectly timed. I used to take it to the Comedy Magic Club. At one time, it was a half hour. And I would see
really?
Yeah. I took it every night like a filmmaker to see where and I could tell you
You're like the Scorsese of pranks.
Yeah, but I could tell you like, okay, so this is the first time they kind of noticed that it started over. This is now they're getting mad. Now they're telling me to go fuck myself. Now they're throwing things at the screen.
At what point do they really start to get angry?
About 6 minutes.
And then they become resigned. They're like prisoners, and they just...
No, but then it turns at 8 minutes, they're into it because they go like, how fucking long? We're part of something that not long. And then it stops. And there is a bigger roar than I've ever gotten in my whole career. And then on the screen... It says stop, right?
Yeah.
And then on the screen, it says rewind.
Right.
And the audience just screams. So they're just pissed off. And for me, the show begins, they're having a good time. And that's 12 minutes that I'm not on stage with an audience reacting louder, angrier, happier, and funnier than ever before.
Play a little bit of the one I actually found. Don't play this one next, but play I actually found the video that you recorded off of the TV. Not this guy again.
Larry.
Yeah, look at this. This is the one you...
Yeah.
Started from the beginning because it's really...
The reason it's all foggy like that is because I just was holding a camera.
Are you sure? I think this is the original one this is on YouTube. But you think this is your version?
Uh-huh.
Oh, let's see.
No. This is...
Look at this guy.
It's the same guy.
I mean, he could be a serial killer, too. Look at his look. Milkman.
No Geritol.
The sun is shining, oh happy day. No more troubles and no.
You're listening to Lawrence Bullfrog Hooper on the Lawrence Welk Show. He was a featured singer and pianist, born in Independence, Missouri, but raised in Lebanon, Missouri. I bet you don't know all this stuff about him. Joined the Welk Band in 1948. When they were doing an evening performance at the Roosevelt Hotel in New York.
Wow.
His popularity was largely due to his basso, well, you're a judge, you know this, basso profundo voice.
Basso profundo.
Yeah, that's right.
Bass, known as bass.
Mm-hmm. Renditions of This Old House and Asleep in the Deep. And he's known for a sense of humor in his singing.
Look at this guy.
Yeah.
You could tell this is a funny clown.
Achieved success with songs like Oh Happy Days in 1953. Yeah.
2 years before I was born.
Plagued with health problems for years, he left the show on a sick leave in 1969.
Here's my cut. This is my cut. I'll play.
No, that isn't. This just keeps going.
Okay. So what I would do is, you can't tell, it's all this same cadence. So I would let him go through the whole thing, and then I would cut it and kind of start it again. So it seemed like he was singing this over and over and over again.
He died in 1980 from kidney failure. I'd have a moment of silence, but it would drive you nuts.
Right.
It'd drive you nuts. So now play the clip of, okay, this is what I want to know. You would play this for 15 minutes, then the lights would go down.
No, the lights would go down, they'd scream, and then I'd play it. This would come up.
Okay, and then the video would stop after like 10 minutes of playing and them booing and yelling. You'll see. Go ahead, play this. This is actually from your show.
See, it's this is probably 10 minutes in.
Yeah. They're booing. And if you're wondering what Howie's doing during all this, he's sitting backstage on his device, enjoying. So my question to you is this a prank? Because so then it just stops, finally, they cheer, and then Rich says, please welcome Orny Adams. So I have to follow this. Is that a prank on me?
No.
Why not do it right? Why not let me go on, or your opening act, you'll never get me to open again, your opening act, and then play that right before you go on?
You're right. You're right. When you're right, you're right.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Nobody's ever brought that up?
No. Sorry. I'll never do that again.
So do you still use this, or are you going to do?
No, now I'm going to, Jeremy, at the end, will you get the video of the guy with the turtleneck? And I want to cut that into 12 minutes. I am.
I've got to see that.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll put it on after you're finished.
Can I get a producer credit on the new video?
I love that guy. I love the turtleneck. He's kind of younged it up. And can we play him one more time?
He's got like an accent. Let's play that as we take Howie Mandel out. My guest today was Howie Mandel.
Guy with the turtleneck.
What's wrong with Orny Adams, episode 106. This is a conversation that could have gone on forever. I love this side of you, Howie. And I also would love to be in a room with you with no distractions at all and see you just losing your mind. I think that'd be great too. Go to HowieMandel.com and watch his podcast. It's great. He gets amazing guests because he's Howie Mandel. I'm the least famous person he'll talk to today. Even his assistant, Rich, or whatever, his 30 years he's been your assistant, he's more popular. He's got a great TikTok following.
Yeah, his last click had Rich Thurber. He had 17 million or
it's amazing.
18 million.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a beautiful girlfriend that's in the clips. That helps.
I don't think she's in that one that's got 18 million.
Is that true?
No, it's him with his hand on a giant ball, making it go in another direction.
I think she's videotaping and talking, but you're right.
They don't see her.
Yeah, it's a good point. Go to OrnyAdams.com, OrnyAdams.com/tour for all my tour dates, which we announced earlier. Email me. Please don't be crazy when you email me. I don't know if you can say crazy anymore. I found out you can't say stray cats. They're now unowned cats.
How long is this podcast?
It's over. It's done. We did it. And you didn't walk off.
I'm still here.
I love it. I'm taking you off right now. Thank you, Ernesto Hurtado. Although you're not going to have to master this one, I don't think. But normally he masters it. Thank you for the people that rate it, that write reviews and share it. But most importantly,
it just won't end.
Thank you.
It won't fucking end.
No, it's like, in fact, why don't we play that other thing for 15 minutes?
No, I don't want to. Now I want to walk off.
No.
To be honest with you, I have to piss so fucking bad.
Me too.
All right.
Let's go do crosses.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.